Hi, everyone. This is a special edition of Wild Wednesday. I'm Dr. Heather Wild because it's a conversation about how today is the 25th anniversary of me being in a really horrifying car accident at the age of 21 that changed the trajectory of my life forever. It's a deeply personal story. I was driving with my boyfriend at the time, and we hit black ice and had a head-on car accident with an oncoming truck. We were in a Mazda 929. This was 1999. All right. So this was before cell phones. This was before, I think that I had my email address for like 4 years in college, right? So this was really before you could call as easily. It was way before OnStar. And so, I don't have like documentation of this except through my own retelling. And it's really how I got firmly on this path of being an integrative naturopathic physician and a functional medicine physician, because it's in this struggle that I went through in order to be able to regain my life that I got a wide mastery of what really works and how to help people heal. And so my left leg was absolutely crushed, and there were 3 inches of my tibia that was just annihilated. And I don't remember a lot about the accident. It probably took 20 minutes for rescue crews to get there to get us, and they ended up needing to use the jaws of life to get us out. But I do remember looking down at my leg and thinking, it's smashed. My leg is broken. And I looked over at my boyfriend, and the whole dash had collapsed on him. And he said, yeah, I think mine is too. And I remember it being so incredibly cold. Hi, Paul. And I'm glad that you could join. Hi, Abby. And I think that the cold kind of seeped into my bones in a way. Like when you go into shock, you don't really, everything is altered. So I remember getting to the hospital. I remember a couple of things, but I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. There was nothing really left of my tibia, and so they couldn't cast it. And I had an external fixator where they screwed 2 like titanium, they're 6-inch screws into my bone above and below. And then they fixed it externally and just hoped that the bones would grow together. Now, the rescue crews saved my life. They got me out of the car. It was before airbags even, right? So think about, head-on car accident with that much damage without an airbag. It's incredible that we even lived. And so what is all the damage that's up in my neck, right? So I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and I ended up being bedridden for about 2 months. And this was my second semester senior year in college. And it was incredibly difficult because I wanted to be there with my friends, and that's supposed to be the fun time of college. And especially where I went, which was no picnic. But I was home in a bed, and I couldn't get out. I couldn't drive anywhere. I couldn't dress myself. I was in a hospital bed in my parents' house. And I remember kind of going a little bit crazy at one point because I was so, I couldn't move. I was in massive amounts of pain, obviously. My knee had been destroyed, and they told me that I would be lucky to keep my leg. It would take probably a year to be able to get the screws out. And they didn't know how many bone grafts I was going to need. And I wouldn't ever run, downhill ski, or backpack ever again. And at 21, and I think it's probably just the way that I'm made, I wasn't going to believe that. And so as I was going kind of crazy in my hospital bed, and my grandmother actually came over every day to take care of me, and she ground up almonds, and almonds are really high in calcium. And my grandmother was a functional nutritionist before it was cool, right? She'd read a book by Adele Davis and had healed her allergies, and so she really showed up and advocated for me, because the surgeons saved my life and they saved my leg, but they never expected for me to get better. They didn't have any way to optimize my wellness. They were like, well, we saved you. Good luck. And so I went on my own journey of how do I heal myself? And one of the things that I did was mindfulness, because I couldn't exercise at that time. I was bedridden, and all I could do was visualize my bones growing back together, and visualize me being able to run, and visualize me being able to backpack and downhill ski. And, we know that sports athletes do this. They visualize their success. And we know with Joe Dispenza that visualizing things is massively powerful. Your brain can't tell the difference between what you're seeing externally and what you're visualizing internally, which is super cool. And so with that, I healed my leg and I got the screws out 3 times faster than they expected. And so, I've never talked about this part before, but my parents were visiting this last weekend, and they were talking about this period, because it's 25 years, right? Like, it's been 25 years that I've lived with this massive impact on my body, and just managing my life ever since to achieve some semblance of normality, and manage my pain, and manage even the fear that I have that everything will be going along beautifully, and then out of nowhere, something will come and just decimate your life. And so I had been on Vicodin, and the doctor, when the time came out to take these, 6-inch, quarter-inch diameter screws out of my leg, they said that I'd been on Vicodin for too long. And so they did it without any pain management. I didn't get a local, I didn't get a sedative, I didn't get Twilight, I didn't get a Tylenol. They took a wrench at one end and they unscrewed it slowly out of my bone and out of the meat of my leg. And so in a way, I have experienced some of the deepest pain that you could ever experience, because it was completely unmedicated. I didn't even get whiskey. It's like having an old bone saw doc in the Civil War start sawing your bone off, and you don't even get whiskey to do the pain, right? So it's been an interesting experience for me over the past 25 years, in that I don't really do anything easily. Like, life hasn't really been easy for me. And I think that that's brought a lot of wisdom, and it's brought a lot of ability for me to step up and do things out of necessity, because I didn't want to be on pain meds for the rest of my life. And this was back in 1999, before they handed them out for sore throats like candy. And now we have this massive, population of people that have become addicted to something. And so conventional medicine really doesn't do a super great job with pain. And so that's why it's in my wheelhouse. I've been managing ungodly amounts of pain for 25 years, mostly without medication. And so I had acupuncture. So first I healed it faster by visualizing my bone growing together and visualizing what it would be back to get to school. I graduated on time from Cornell. I graduated in a wheelchair, and I didn't really walk without crutches for a while after that, but I graduated on time. I got what I needed to get done. And I was able to have the focus and the drive to continue that in the face of, having a crutch. And being in a wheelchair and just being frustrated with the fact that my relationship completely detonated. And when you're 21 years old and you're both just broken, it's a very difficult. I didn't have the tools to really be vulnerable and connect, and we grew apart. And I think it's a tremendous piece of sorrow for me, because you think that life is going to end up one way and everything can change. And I think that one of the reasons that I'm sharing this today is because life does kick you in the face if you live long enough, right? In some ways, I'm so incredibly grateful that I lived through that accident, that he lived through that accident. And I'm so grateful that I kept my leg, and I'm so grateful that, everybody involved was okay. And yet you can look at what could have been my life. I had it planned. And then sometimes things happen where, if you want to make God laugh, tell them your plans. And so I think that I want to inspire anybody watching to, when your life deals you a shit hand, right? There's beauty on the other side. You can get up. Don't give up. And when doctors tell you, well, there's nothing that we can do, or you're just getting older, or, my personal favorite, diet has nothing to do with whatever's going on in your body. Don't believe them, because you are piloting the most magnificent machine in the known universe. And just because you didn't get a user's manual doesn't mean that you can't learn how to optimize your health, learn how to walk again, learn how to manage your pain in a way that doesn't necessitate hardcore drugs, learn how to deal with life without addictions that insulate you from the heartbreak that can come. Life is painful, and it can be in the annihilation of relationships, or scary things that happen with your health, or your job not working out the way that you wanted it to. And I guess I just hope that you get inspired to continue to stand up and to continue to advocate for yourself and the ones that you love, because life is beautiful, and we don't really know if we get to do it again in heaven, or in another life, or on another planet, or even in an AI virtually, projected, consciousness robot, if, Elon's to be believed. But I want to live my life to the absolute fullest. And so when life gives you lemonade, you know what I mean? But I guess I just wanted to talk about how I'm really glad that I chose not to go on antidepressants and neurological alterations and anti-inflammatories for the rest of my life. And I chose to look for something different. And I'm inspired to continue to advocate for myself. I don't really ever see myself as an old lady. And I think it's probably because I've almost died so many times. Nothing's guaranteed. And so I really live with presence, and I really live with, gratitude. And I believe that, every day could be your absolute last one. And I've had that happen more than once. And so I think that last night I was able to actually see myself as a little old lady. And I recognized, and Christy will love this, I need to work out more frequently and keep myself strong, because as my body is aging, I'm 46 years old and way more than half of my life at this point has been with a significantly impaired and damaged body that I have just powered through. And I hope that you look for alternatives to support your health and your body. I hope that you feel educated and empowered by what I share when I do my videos. And I will say that one of the major things that I did for my pain was acupuncture. I had um, my meridians recalibrated by an acupuncturist right after I had this massive car accident, because they say that when you have injuries like that, your meridians can get messed up. I walked on the beach and I swam and I exercised and I did yoga and chiropractic, and I iced and I did contrast hydrotherapy and cold plunges, and I ate like a saint and did Reiki and craniosacral and rebirthing and emotional recalibration. And all of them had a role. I did body manipulation and fascial release, and all of them had an effect on my body. But the food sensitivity panel testing that I did was what really got me the capacity to be off of pain medication. And so, because today's my 25th anniversary of life, um, second life, right? I'm doing a 25% off all of the food sensitivity testing that I offer. If you DM me, then I'll send you a code for that. And also the detoxification, because all of the chemicals that assault you, I'm also doing 25% off my detoxification course and program, so that I'm sharing something that made a massive impact on how my body works and how I overcame these things that I was told I would never overcome. And so I want to share that with you, and also just share the sentiment and the feelings and the excitement that life is beautiful. And I hope that you choose to have positivity and hope that life can get better. And just because a doctor tells you that it's just because you're getting older, bullshit. That's not true. I regularly help people feel 10, 15 years younger by addressing the cause of what is making them feel more inflamed, more stressed, hormonal changes. Things can be done. And so I invite you, find a functional medicine practitioner close to you. And if you don't have one close to you, I'm able to consult in most parts of the country and help get you lab testing and help you to, unlock the reasons why you're not thriving. And if it's a mindset thing, that's why I did all of my NLP training, because that's how you can really get to the meat of how do you talk to yourself, and how do you coach yourself, and how do you give yourself pep talks? Because that's really the secret to life, is by having a strong will and mindset. And I've almost died a lot of times, and I continue to get up, and I continue to try to be the best version of me. And I think that, people ask, in, self-help and like coaching, who are you? And so who are you? If you're not a mother or a doctor or a student, or, if you're not your profession, or if you're not one of the roles, who are you? Well, I'm an educator. I want to empower people through education so that they know how to advocate for themselves and their family. And I'm a fighter. And now people will be like, well, don't say you're a fighter, because then you'll always be fighting. Okay. I'm an enthusiastic advocator, and I'm an innovator, and I find solutions, and I'm not afraid to stand up and, work really hard to help find what will help things shift and change for people so that they can empower themselves and find solutions for things that bother them, and learn how to speak kindly to themselves and unwind all of this mind that you've gotten as a child, and the shadow work, and how do we live our lives from a place of power rather than victimhood? The world does not need one more victim. And I look back at my life and I think about all of the times that I could have sat down and cried and played the victim. Now, I just cried on camera. So I do cry, but I don't cry for long. And I don't play victim for long. I believe that I show up in a way that, learns from every opportunity that I have been given. My partner said, "Well, how could life have shown up for you to learn from this?" I'm like, "Look, that's my jam. I've been doing this since I was 21 years old. For 25 years, I've been putting a smiley face on how I if I eat certain things that everybody else in the world eats, I can feel like I got hit by a truck. If I sleep wrong, then I can wake up and feel like I'm 86 years old. And if I've given up more food than I love than most people I know, period, because I was able to recognize the things that I was doing that made me stronger and the things that I was doing that made me weaker. And I chose to give up the things that made me weaker. I chose to give up, even if it brought me joy, and even if I thought that it was enabling me through life, whether it was alcohol or cannabis or nicotine or, compulsively playing video games or reading romance novels, or what is it that you are insulating yourself, whether it was medications. You can't live the life that you were born to live if you keep a film and a safety net. And so I invite you to choose into living a life of power and vision and health and happiness. And you can concentrate on, what you conceive of as God and what you conceive of as the universe and commune with that. And amen. That is an absolute powerful place to live in. And you can look at your emotions and you can look at your mental health and you can look at counseling and recalibrating. And absolutely, we are a holistic being. You need all of these pieces. And you also need, I love you, Jenna. You inspire me too. You also need to pay attention to your body, because all of the prayer and all of the mindset and all of the emotional work, it makes it all so much easier if you actually feel good in your body, because pain is the main health struggle that I've had. And pain is absolutely exhausting. It shifts your relationships. It can tank your mental health. It is a struggle that people live with in silence every day. It can make you more irritable and it can make you more exhausted and it can just make everything more difficult and have you be more, checked out. I recognized that I wasn't fully in my body for most of my life because it was so painful to be there, because it was just exhausting to deal with the constant pain that I had in my body. And so I went off into places of, intellectual understanding of what was happening and how do I fix this? And I threw myself into work, and it was a powerful experience because intellectually I'm really good at my job, and I'm just now getting into my body so that I'm paying more attention to the self-care that I need to do, because I'm not a spring chicken, and it's time for me to really care for these parts of me that need to be, hi Marissa, need to be taken care of. And it's been a really incredible journey because I recognize that I deserve to be taken care of as much as I would take care of my son, or as much as energy as I would give to creating a, cutting edge wellness plan or supplementation protocol for my patients, as much as I would care for, even my, animals. Like I actually have a cheat sheet that I have to do before I sit down and work. And it's drink water, take your vitamins, eat protein, stretch, and be grateful for three things. Otherwise, I would just sit down and sublimate everything into my drug of choice, which is work, which makes me a really good doctor, but it doesn't make me a really good driver of this body that I have. And so it's a struggle, and it's a learning experience, and it's a process that I've been going through for 25 years. I know how to biohack, and I know how to be a really good physician that treats the cause of disease and finds non pharmaceutical solutions, because I do that for myself so that I can function outside of, being, in a wheelchair, being, on crutches or a cane. I have massive nerve damage. I have massive body damage. I have, head injuries, and, I'm held together by the very best of integrative medicine. And so I invite you to invest in your own wellness and invest in your own journey, and believe that you can be better, and believe that you can thrive, and believe that there are alternatives that you can do to live a life that is better than you've ever imagined. I have a client that said he's my age, he's currently living a life better than he ever imagined, with his vitality and his energy and his wellness, and even how he looks. And I feel like that too. They never expected me to be well. I have hiked the Grand Canyon, downhill skied some of the best mountains in the world. I've jumped into the Antarctic Ocean off that, like, that left leg was my plant leg. I was a sprinter. I was a really good runner. And, I've backpacked, and I can run, and I'm really grateful for this incredible body that I have. So thanks, Mom, for your role in helping me achieve that, right? And for supporting me through my process. And it certainly hasn't been easy. There's a massive aspect of keeping positive. And so I hope that I helped inspire you, and feel like you're able to be more positive and more hopeful, because I promise you, whatever health concern that you are currently struggling with, whatever it is, something can be done. I do it all the time for myself, for my clients. And, so I hope that you've been inspired to invest in yourself today in a way that makes you stronger, be it spiritually, emotionally, mentally, or physically. And again, I'm going to do a 25% off on the detoxification and the food sensitivity testing, because those were the two massive things that really shifted how my body works today, and how I overcame my health concerns and manage my pain in my body. And so it's for this week. You can DM me for information and a coupon for that. And I hope that you're well. And I am going to sit in my comfies and drink my tea and celebrate this day where I didn't die. And it gave me an incredible opportunity to grow into who I am today in a way that I can actually say, with as much grief as it has caused me, I can actually say that I'm grateful that it happened, because it was a fundamental shift in the trajectory of my life that created who I am today, and what I do today, and how I impact and help people. And I really love who I am, and I really love what I do, and I'm passionate, and my job is a calling, and I'm really good at it. And so I can actually look back with all of the loss and all of the fear and all of the pain and say, I'm grateful that it happened. And so I hope you can look at some trauma or some thing that went sideways in your life and find the good in it, because what doesn't kill us really does make us stronger. And if you look for the positive in things and you're not a glass, I'm actually at my core a glass half empty person. And I choose to be a glass half full person. And that's one of my superpowers. That's one of the things that I am. I'm brave. I'm an innovator. I'm an advocator. I'm an educator. And I am choosing to live my best life. I am choosing my health adventure. And I'm choosing to be grateful and choosing love for myself and for all of humanity at this massive time of change in human history. And so I hope you have a beautiful February 7th. And I'm going to go treat myself to things that I love doing. And I hope you're well. Bye-bye.